Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's David Palmer, Leo King. We are here for Deep Astrology. That's right. Looking deeper into the stars, what's going on this week. And we're already almost out of August. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. And we are going to talk about some real deep stuff this week because I'm sure you're all feeling it. I know that Mercury went direct this weekend. I know that's always a positive thing. But there's still 5 planets retrograde this week. And I really want to dive into what this means, and especially with what this major buildup is this week with this huge full moon kite that I cannot even believe. This full moon is not a normal full moon. I'm just going to put it that way. 2, it's happening right before Mars comes direct. And if you don't know too much about Mars, remember Mars is the only planet that can go 2 years before it goes retrograde. All the other planets got to go retrograde before then. And when Mars deals with masculine energy and drive and ambition and your libido, it is at a slow point right now. And I'm sure you've seen Mars in the last couple months as it's been retrograde, because that's the whole point of what a retrograde is, right? We are the Earth passing Mars, and that's why Mars is going backwards and we're able to see it. And Mars doesn't like to be passed. What ego, what racer, what man do you like that likes to be passed in life? No, that's not a fun feeling, right? So when Mars is stopped, like it is right now, and it's ready to go direct, I used an analogy outside actually with some people earlier, and I've said this analogy before. It's kind of like trying to have sex, but it's not really working, if you know what I mean. And the Viagra is not working either. So it's like trying to push through and get the ambition to keep going, but it's like, is it all going to work? And there could be a little bit of anxiety, like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to really achieve this, even though I've got this strength and determination. It could feel like you're on the last couple, I guess you could call it grabs of the dirt as you're climbing this mountain, or it's like the last turn before the finish line. You're like, am I going to make it? And I think that we really need to see that this is a time for us to not freak out, because freakouts are very possible during a week like this. The reason why I say that is the moon is it's in Capricorn right now. It's coming through Aquarius, and this is where all the malefic planets are. So if you look up in the sky, you can see where the moon passed Saturn, then it's passing over Pluto, then it's passing over Mars retrograde, then it's passing over the South Node, and then it's coming into Aquarius, which is where the South Node is, where people can start to go, I don't know if all these things are going to work out. I don't know if all this is going to come together the way I want to. And while you look at where the moon is going through this craziness, while Mars is at the end of this retrograde, which makes us kind of like, gosh darn it, I'm just ready to do it now. It's like people can lose their cool, or they can lose their patience. And more importantly, since this is in Capricorn, they can lose their integrity. So this is all about staying in your integrity this week, finding patience. If you like tarot, it's kind of like finding the Hermit card. Kind of just guiding through with the guiding light and knowing you're going to make it. And maybe even if you're walking slow, it's all building up. And of course, the sun. Now, ironic enough today, August 21st, 2018, do you guys all know what exactly a year ago was? The total solar eclipse that was through America, that was in the sign of Leo at this exact degree, 28 degrees of Leo. So we are completing a year cycle in the solar eclipse, which could put you really face forward right now this week in a lot of the things from last year that you really have been facing as far as what you want in your life, what your heart's desires are, all coming to the table, and without you freaking out about it not fully vested the way you want to yet. It's kind of like sitting at a table and having them send the appetizers, and all you're thinking about is the main course. And you're freaking out, like, are they going to bring a main course out? Like, I don't know. Oh my gosh, I thought I smelled pot roast. That's what I wanted, but is it really going to come? Yes. It's called patience. If you go to a really nice dinner, I guarantee you, you're not getting your food after you order it for 45 minutes to an hour. right? Like, you go to McDonald's, you'll get it in 5 minutes, but it probably isn't going to be the best. It's probably not going to feel good afterwards. And probably 4 to 6, maybe 12 hours later, I don't know what your bowel cycle is like, but it's probably not going to be fun in your bowel cycle at the end of that one. But after eating a nice meal, and for all the vegans out there, right? Vegan food definitely isn't fast food. You got to cook that thing, or you have to eat it raw, or you have to go get it, and you have to go get it from a nice organic place. I think it's extremely important to realize that right now, all the most amazing things are coming together, and that ties in with what all these retrogrades are, especially Mars retrograding in Capricorn, because with the sun at its final degrees of Leo, where the solar eclipse was last week, or last month, or sorry, last year, you have to think about how, oh my gosh, this is a really crazy moment, because the sun at 28 degrees is making an exact quincunx to this Mars retrograde energy. And so it's like, here is everything that I've ever wanted to come together, but the patience I need to have before I go out and drive at full speed ahead. And I think that's super important to kind of realize. The other thing that's happening this week is the sun is going to come into Virgo. And if you understand any of the fixed stars or any of the stars that are on the ecliptic, the star Regulus is at the very beginning of Virgo and right at the end of Leo, okay? And so the sun's going to pass this week, right? Literally, it's going to start passing it tomorrow and into Thursday. And so it's very important for you to realize, what is this Regulus energy? Regulus is about being a king. It is about being your royal self. It is about overcoming enemies and reaching your greatest energy. But it's all by doing it from the heart. It's the lion's heart. But if you're in a place to where you can't handle the energy of your heart, to where you're like, I'm not happy unless this happens now. Or I'm not happy because it hasn't happened yet, and I'm not happy yet because this person or this situation hasn't shown up the way I want to. You're going to be in a lot of trouble this week, because it's going to be like, this is patience, and this is divine order, divine timing. Everything is divine in the universe, but the biggest test would be a week like this, and just enjoying watching the universe do the work. Retrogrades are showing us that the universe is doing the work, that we're not have to outwardly do as much as we think. So being crazy on how you're going to do it and when it's going to happen and doing it is going to blow your system, especially when the sun moves into Virgo. And we all know Virgos, right? They want it done, done, done now, and I want it specifically this way, and you missed this corner of bleaching the toilet, and I can still see that pee stain in the corner. It's like, don't freak out. Divine timing in Virgo definitely, when working together, like we're going to see this weekend, with the sun trining Saturn in Capricorn and trining Uranus and Taurus, this is a major grand trine in Earth of manifestation with a full moon that's going to be happening in Pisces. There's going to be this lesson of learning to surrender, to watch the whole world come together in the way that you want to. And that's the best way I could describe it. But what happens with a full moon in a kite? If you're not emotionally ready to surrender to the universe, if you're not ready to emotionally learn to go with the flow, and if you don't have control over your sensitivities, your triggers, and the things in life that really connect with kind of subconscious aspects of yourself, parts of yourself that trigger some sort of event in your life to self-sabotage things, because guess what? Pisces rules self-sabotaging situations. Like, why would you self-sabotage this week something that is so beautiful right in front of you happening, because you're not happy exactly the way that it looks at the moment, and you're not happy that the main course isn't delivered exactly at the time that you want it. Yes, we know you're hungry. Yes, we know you're good. The universe is throwing enough appetizers to get you through. And it's not the universe's fault if you eat a bunch of appetizers and aren't hungry for the full meal, which some of us do. I know I'm that kind of person. When you put the bread out there with the butter, you know what I mean? I'll eat all that shit, and then the meal comes, and I'm like, oh crap, I got to eat this whole thing. But I don't think we're in a place where there's enough appetizers to kind of feel satisfied. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Long story short, though, before we go deep into these charts and before we look at them, I want people to also realize that Mercury has just come out of its retrograde in Leo. And so this has been a very deep look at how to stand in your true heart, and to realize that when you step into each day right now, that happiness truly is based on learning how to be happy with what you have now. And I know that can be very hard when there's a lot of earth energy, which is about physically looking at things. You start to nitpick things like, oh God, look at the little nick on my car. Oh my gosh, look at how there's a stain in my carpet. Look at how my bank account isn't exactly at this number to be where I'm super happy. When we start nitpicking all these things and everything, guess what happens to our heart, our happiness, and our manifesting ability? It starts going, this is where you go, I know everything is super divinely going to happen, and this whole entire full moon that's going to be happening in Virgo and Pisces is learning to emotionally trust the universe and watch magic happen. But you have to, I think, with Jupiter and Scorpio, ask, and I think what's even more interesting about this is if we look at Mercury. Mercury's coming into its square to Jupiter this weekend while the full moon will be happening. Another eclipse kind of energy, even though it's not an eclipse time, it's a full moon, but another moon cycle that's reaching a peak where Mercury square Jupiter. So it's like your own perception of life and happiness and what you have and what you don't have is the trigger point to your true happiness and your ability to manifest what you want right now. If you don't think you have enough, you don't think it's all there, you don't think that the universe is there to supply everything that you need and it's all right in front of you and there's all these retrogrades to bring in all this awesome karma and all these awesome relationships with Venus and its natural sign of Libra right now, then I will call you crazy because it is all happening. And honestly, I know it might sound a little crazy, but you really don't have to do much. You just need to show up. It's kind of like lotto. You got to play to win. So it's kind of like you don't need to buy like 1 million lotto tickets or something. You just need to buy one. And it's like all you got to do by that analogy is just show up to each day and watch the universe do what it does. But if you're going to pull yourself out from unhappiness, that it's not the way that you want to, and pull a full rebellion, I'm not liking it, I don't want any part of this, I'm out of it, guess what? The universe is going to show up with the meal and you're not there, and someone else is going to eat it. So I know that's a lot to kind of process and a lot to take in, but at the end of the day, think about that in that way. If you're not showing up because you're unhappiness, if you're in a place of fear, because there's a lot of fear that comes with taking on big things. Mars in retrograde in Capricorn, Pluto in retrograde in Capricorn, and Saturn in its natural sign, right, of Capricorn, retrograde, is a monumental place we don't normally ever feel of taking our lives to a whole nother level of manifestation. And it is fucking scary. It's also what we desire more than anything in our life. So are we all crazy? Yeah, we're all crazy. We all want the biggest things. We all want to move on to the next part of life. But there's that inner sensitivity and that inner fear of like, can I really handle all this? Can I really take it all on? Am I going to be able to pull this one off? Yeah. If you ask for it, guess what? The universe is dropping it on you like bombs. Here you go. And it's about learning to break through fear. That's what Jupiter and Scorpio is about. And with Mercury squaring it, that's just come out of this huge entire like crazy retrograde cycle during the middle of eclipses. It's like learning for your mind to see how exciting and positive this is instead of how scary and I don't know and I'm not happy because I have to face my fears. Well, guess what? That's what you want is behind that fear. I know I use Jurassic Park analogies a lot, but it's kind of like you've always wanted a pet raptor, but you're afraid to cross and open the fence to get one. Like, well, you asked for it. Here's the universe dropping you there, and you're kind of like, well, I don't know. Maybe I should back away. I don't, you know, it's actually, if you want to take this on a deeper subconscious level spiritually, it really isn't that you want to self-sabotage it because you're not happy. That's an easy one. The deepest part is that you don't have the courage. At the end of the day, this week is the ultimate test of, do you have the courage to really do what you've asked for in the universe? Do you have the courage to step into it? Do you have the courage to actually be there and be like, I'm going to do it even though I'm terrified, even though I've asked for big things, even though it's monumental and the stakes are extremely high? Courage. It's easy for us to not be happy, of course, and look at it as unhappiness because it's like, oh, it's not looking the way I want to. How many people do you know whenever like, you know, it comes to like, you know, doing it, they always have something like, oh, well, it didn't really work out. Like the person was kind of mean. Or it really didn't work out. I didn't like the way that the parking lot felt. There's usually some deep fear or something else that's subliminally, subconsciously projecting itself to make it look like, oh yeah, so we really kind of go through life and saying these things all the time without really realizing that it's a deeper thing usually. And in this case, in this week, and what's happening in this life is you're just too afraid. And you're too afraid of your own power, and you're too afraid of the things that you've asked for, and you're too afraid of really stepping into it because there's some part of you that thinks it can't pull itself off just because of this stupid Mars retrograde, which kind of demasculizes us, even the feminine out there, right? It kind of makes the feminine energy kind of feel like, well, where's, I know tons of girls who are like, man, I just want a masculine man. I'm so sick of being the girl that's always, and the woman that's paying for all the bills and doing all that stuff. It's kind of that energy, right? It's kind of like this anger out there of like, why do I have to do everything? Why do I have to do all this? Because this masculine energy is like really crushed at the moment because it's going through a reset. And on Monday, it turns back on. And it's full steam ahead out of nowhere. And that's like the moment the Viagra kicks in. No, I'm just kidding. So, it's like, I'm not promoting any kind of drug use or prescriptions or anything, but that's kind of how it works, right? Like if you drink alcohol or something, or I've never tried Viagra, but I'm sure if it was your first time or if it was my first time, I'd be sitting there the whole time like, when's this motherfucker going to kick in? Like, you know what I mean? We're in that kind of moment right now in our lives. When's it going to kick in? I need it to kick in. The girl's already here in the bed. You know what I mean? It's like, oh God, and then the pressure and then the courage and what's the easiest thing to do? I got to go to the bathroom real quick, or stalling, or doing all these things, or pulling her out instead and relying on only when it kicks in can I do this. What if you actually believe that you could pull it off? Now, yeah, the Viagra is going to help out, but I don't even know how I got here, but we'll just keep rolling with it. Like, you can do it. You know what I mean? Like, do you need a cheerleading team to be like, you can do it? Because especially with the South Node in Aquarius, it's kind of not there. You kind of feel a little bit alone in all of it. Even though you can make great connections and all these things, this whole entire last 15 months has been like, collaborations and things, no matter how much they're there, no matter how much people are surrounding you at the hospital, no matter how many likes and comments you get on Facebook and everything, there's still this whole Leo energy in the North Node of like, I gotta show up and be my part in this whole thing. Can I pull that part off? And that's what this really is all about. And trust me, I know you can do it. I know plenty of guys, I don't know, probably Hugh Hefner, probably, I don't know. Hugh's dead now, but I wish I could have interviewed him and been like, are you using Viagra now? Or like, do you still got it? I bet you he still had it. I have a feeling. So let's take a look at the charts and see what's going on. All righty. Charts. So of course, I'm running these charts for right now. And here's that sun, right, at exactly the position of where it was for that solar eclipse the last time at 28 degrees. And of course, Mercury now has come off 11 degrees where the retrograde was. So Mercury's starting to move. So things are starting to move forward. So I don't want you to think like everything stopped, but there is this part where it's like little bits of information are coming inch by inch by inch instead of foot or yard or mile. It's inch by inch. And it's all moving forward now. And of course with Venus, which is still in a great spot, it's in its home spot of Libra, it's about really understanding that awesome relationships are coming together, awesome aspects. This Venus-Leo Libra thing is awesome as it's still in sextile with Mercury, giving us some really positive things that are being shown up inch by inch. But that negative aspect is that Jupiter. It is your perception, it is going dark, and it is learning to expand by facing extremely deep fears. So don't be afraid of that. That's a very important aspect. So as we move forward here, the last day of Leo, which is August 22nd, I think it's extremely important for us to pay attention to. The reason why is because this is where this star Regulus is. It's at 0 Virgo, okay? And it's at the end of Leo. And here here is that spot, okay? 29 degree, and it's always an edgy degree whenever you get into this kind of aspect, all right? Like, it's like, don't lose it. The reason why, look at the moon and all this energy right here. The moon is in Capricorn over Pluto, and where Mars retrograde is, it's stuck in between. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you guys this a little bit more clear, because this is super important for you guys to all pay attention to about why this week is so crazy and not to lose it. So here's Pluto at, here, we'll have, I like different colors today. So Pluto is, there we go, all right? And here is Mars retrograde. You can see it 28 degrees. Now look at that moon, okay? Let's color in the moon here. Look at that moon, right smack in between in Capricorn. What is Capricorn? It's achievement, it's reaching for the highest position in life. It's about integrity. It's about, you know, really stepping forward into your power. And with the moon in between Pluto and Mars rule desire, intensity, depth, extreme, hunger. This also rules sex. I know sex has been coming a lot today. Well, you know what? I don't care. We're talking about sex. The big thing is, are you going to let your power for what you want, especially if we go back and look, the sun is in Leo at the last degree. The edgiest degree is always right before the sun switches into a new sign. Are you going to let this over-intense, egoic, I need this now and everything ruin all the awesome things the universe is building up? That's pretty much the biggest question of the beginning of this week and into the middle of this week. Because as we move forward in the days, the sun comes into Virgo on August 23rd and conjuncts this star Regulus, which is now in Virgo, which is learning life is about being in purity. Life is about, you know, realizing that all the pieces can come together, and if we're pure of heart and if we come from a service-based place and that we're servants to a higher good and that we come from our most cleanest, most best self. That's what Virgo represents, is purity. That's why it's the virgin, right? Like every virgin's pure until they've been tainted by some 40-year-old rock star, right? Like that's the whole idea, right? Not necessarily true, but it is that whole mentality. And I think it's important for us to realize that this means we're getting ready for this buildup for the awesome Grand Trine, which I'm going to show you. So August 23rd, focus on your purity about situations, showing up, being pure, and being your true self of serving the universe and knowing you have these desires and knowing the universe will bring them. Because the moon is going to be conjuncting the south node the day that the sun is fully into Virgo. And this always means that we can emotionally really want the connection, really want the edge, but if we're not seeing them come together, and with Mars, which is retrograde, so I'm going to show you guys this right here. With Mars being retrograde still, which is still, remember, stopped. It's not moving because on Monday it's going to move forward. With the moon on the south node, this rebellion aspect becomes huge. Like, I just will do anything I can, or I'll do something crazy, or I just need to find something, when we got to stay in our purity. We got to trust. We got to know that it's all coming together, because you got to learn to look at the bigger picture, which I think the universe just makes me laugh every time. God is so funny. Jupiter, of course, is at 16 degrees of Scorpio. Mercury's now at 13. So see this square starting to develop? Which to me is, look at the bigger picture of things. All right, so Jupiter, Mercury, square. Look at the bigger things of how what you ask for you will get. That's Scorpio, right? Like, Scorpio is about attracting what you want and learning to ask so you can receive. So, you know, why do you think women wear high heels and a hot dress or whatever and do their hair and put makeup on to attract what they want? Why do you think men, we try to look our best and do everything that we can, put on a nice suit and everything to get what we want? It's how we attract the things we want in our life. That's not our issue. We are attracting all the things we want in our life. Our issue is how we're seeing it happen. So it's kind of like, we'll use the example of like single people going on a date. It's kind of like after, you know, having a couple of drinks or having a meal and then freaking out like if the girl looks at her phone and says, I need to go to the bathroom real quick. It's like, oh man, I don't know. This might not go down. I thought it was going well and everything. Oh my God. And we start losing our mind over these crazy ideas when we need to remember, if we're sitting in our heart, if we're sitting in our love, we're expressing our love, and we know that we're in a place where we know we're attracting in what we want, we're fine. We're fine. It's the best little crazy weird example that I can give you guys for that one. So this is where things get big, and I'm going to skip forward to this weekend because this weekend is extremely powerful, mind-blowing in many ways. And the reason why I say that is because we are coming into a full moon this weekend that is extremely amazing. And actually Friday is the grand trine, but I want to show you the full moon this weekend, and we'll talk about how it's all being built up throughout Friday and Saturday. So let's take a look at this from a wide view real quick. Oh, wrong button. Okay. So 3 degrees is where the sun and the moon are going to be. And this is that full moon in Pisces, learning to surrender, learning to let go, learning to trust the universe, learning to listen to our emotional subconscious triggers. And this is the last day that Mars is retrograde. No coincidences in the universe, right? The last day that Mars is retrograde after months of being retrograde, and then we've got 2 years of it going forward. So, can you emotionally just go with the flow and trust and emotionally let go of your subconscious triggers and emotionally let go of feeling like a victim and step into reality and look at this? Look at this reality. The sun is trining Saturn, and the sun is trining Uranus in Taurus, exact at this full moon. So what do we have? We have what's called a kite full moon. And I'm going to show you guys this deeper right now. So we'll look at this from this angle right here, and I'll give you guys a little fun visualization here. So, oh, that's, okay. Okay. So with the sun at 3 degrees here, this creates this grand trine. So this comes up to Uranus and Taurus. This comes down to Saturn right here, okay? And then this comes down from the sun over to Saturn. A grand trine is a wholly positive, just like the pyramids, connector of all things. And especially in Earth sign, it's all the Earth signs coming together. Taurus, which rules manifestation, money, and self-worth. Virgo, which rules thinking of change and how to put all the things together and make it all work and find an operating system. And Saturn and Capricorn, which knows how to bring it all together and bring integrity to it and build the biggest structure of all time and build it and create it and have the ambition to make it all happen. Coming together. And it ain't going to come together like this, folks, with a full moon at the exact same time, which creates the kite. Because what do we have? This creates a cradle between the moon and Saturn. Look at this, 3 degrees. Look at this, 2 degrees. It's within a half a degree. Look at 238. And then look at this over here to Uranus and Taurus. I probably should have shown Uranus, but there it is. So look at, this is a kite. See how a kite works? Look at, that's a kite in astrology. It's exact, a full moon kite. What are the problems with flying kites? Keeping them in the air. So how are you going to keep this amazing, very rare, ultra powerful, manifesting kite in your life? What is it going to be? You emotionally not going crazy. Because what does Pisces rule? It rules spirituality, it rules compassion, it rules going with the flow. But the negative part of what it rules is psychiatric disorders, going crazy, jails, hospitals. It rules where we lose our compassion, where we lose our ability to go with the flow, and we become crazy, and we become triggered by our subconscious in ways that we have overloaded it, and we project negative aspects of self-sabotage on ourselves. So Our kite will fly if we're going with the flow. We're trusting this awesome part of the universe coming together. And I'll put a different color here to show the grand trine of this kite, right? So look at this grand trine. Look at this. We'll pick blue for the cradle. I mean, this is so rare. You guys have no idea. And because it's more rare, because it's a full moon exact, you got to remember that the moon every couple hours is moving a degree. So, like, for it to be exactly hitting at the exact same time the full moon, like, you got to think of the math of a Uranus, an 84-year around the sun planet, Saturn, a 28.5 to 30-year planet around the sun, and the sun, which is only in this position one time every 365 years, or 365 days, sorry, and the full moon, which is only in this space one time a month for about a couple hours. All hitting at the same time. I'm just going to let you guys all process that for a quick second. And then here, the opposition. I'll put it in yellow because this is really what flies this awesome kite. Is, can you find a true way in your life to 100% allow all these magical things? Because Pisces rules magic. Pisces rules spirituality. Pisces rules the ability to 100% allow yourself to go with where the universe is guiding you, following your gut, following your intuition. You intuitively know it's all coming together, so why freak out? Because you don't have all the Virgo details? Because you don't have everything? It's all there. You can see all the pieces coming together with Uranus, a sun trine Uranus, that's Friday into Saturday. You can see all the pieces. Sure, with all these retrogrades and with Mercury squaring Jupiter, we have to learn to be a great positive perspective belief system in order for this to really happen, because it's like I could only imagine, I don't know, I'm not going to use that example, it's a horrible example, but we'll use it because my guides brought it up. When they were building the nuclear bomb or the atom bomb, like after testing and testing and testing, there had to be a point to where it was like, I don't know if this thing's going to work, but somehow there comes a point to where it all does. And in our life, there's this huge moment where, I don't want to say we have nuclear bombs or something, but it's like we have this explosion of manifesting that is about to come out the gates at full fucking speed of Mars in its exaltation, because Mars in Capricorn is its favorite place. Because what better else does our ego want? Fame, goals reached, trophies, career, top of the food chain and reaching in our life. And it's all going forward Monday after this full moon with this huge, very rare kite. Kites in astrology are rare, but they can only be flown based off how you deal with the opposition, the backbone of the kite, right? Which I've got here in yellow. And it's this yellow backbone of, can you just allow all this awesome stuff to come down and just watch magic happen? If there's anything that I can teach you all from this week, every piece in your life is coming together. And all you have to do is just watch it all come together. You shouldn't freak out about how it's going to come. You shouldn't freak out on the timing, because, of course, this is a moment for us to just be observers of God's magic, observers of out of nowhere, after especially the last 6 to 8 weeks of the eclipses and I mean, we had 7 energies retrograde at one point. You know, we're moving down to 5 on Monday on the 27th. It's going to blow your mind to watch the universe show up after such a very deep, spiritual, internal, long, intense inner battle, and watch the universe just make all this magic happen for you. But I think, I'm going to put it out there. I think the general public, and I'm sure you out there and a lot of people in the world, believe that sometimes the harder spiritual lessons we all go through and the most inner work that we do creates the most abundance, creates the most amazing things on the other end of it. If it was easy, it wouldn't really be so great. And for some reason, the universe has been putting us to the test to find love through this whole process, to find the ability to try and understand that divine timing is everything in life. Because with these aspects, to me, this is what divine timing is, with Saturn trine Uranus, with the Sun trine Uranus, with the Sun trine Saturn. It's about divine timing from a higher energy source. And what this last 6 to 8 weeks has truly been, has been about ascension to a higher plane in our life. Upgrading our souls, upgrading our energy, upgrading our ability to love more and to truly know this is what I want in my life, to truly know this is what I want to have, this is what I want to achieve, this is where I want to go. And what better way to do that than go through the fucking hellstorm that we've been going through for the last 6 to 8 weeks? And for it to all magically end and the fucking rainbow show up out of nowhere. I don't know if it's going to look like that. It's going to be a little bit more like, yes, shit's coming together and I'm ready to go. But one thing about all this energy is, are you ready for the responsibility? So that's the negative is, here you go, giving you what you wanted, but it comes with integrity, it comes with the responsibility, it comes with work, and it comes with showing up, and it comes with doing it. It doesn't come with like, here's a gift and you just need to unwrap it and okay, go back into your room and play with it until you're bored 2 hours later and then the gift's over. You asked for a gift from the universe that's going to last probably the rest of your life. If you look at the astrology of what 2018 was, because if we look ahead at 2019 and 2020 and the whole 2020s, we all know that the world is going to be going through the most technological, spiritual, intellectual, and most radical changes we've ever seen in our whole life. The astrology says it, we all feel it, and this is our time to change humanity and change the spiritual world and change into this collective that we've been all waiting for. So of course we've been going through this test. Of course we've had to really ask ourselves, is this what we really want? Of course we've had to go through the test of like going through the struggles of how long it's been taking to go through that. And that's the whole lesson of Saturn and Capricorn, is to learn things take time, and that time is connected to a divine order. And the true test of ego right now is if you don't accept divine time. Because if you don't accept divine time, then there's a problem. And we're going to get a call. It's probably on my laptop. You can just close my laptop. You can just close it. That's a sign from the universe. I know you guys might all think I'm crazy, but when things like that happen, that is a motherfucking sign. Ego is not about because how you show off in your car or all that crap. It is whether or not you accept divine timing. If you don't accept divine timing and you think you have control and you're the timekeeper, go right ahead and watch how that could fall. Now, I'm sure people are all wondering how relationships fall into all this. And I want to finish with this. Oh, wrong button. So, and actually, let's look at Monday when Mars comes direct. Okay, bam. And, well, actually, yeah, let me do hours here. Okay, bam, bam, bam. So, okay, Mars. Yeah, oh, I went too fast. Come on, AstroGold. If people don't notice while I'm talking, I am running AstroGold, a Mac program on a PC right now by using an Android emulator. Some people are out there, what's an Android emulator? Android emulators are, I literally am emulating having an Android phone in a big program on my PC, but running an Apple, you know, something that is a program that's mainly on Apples, and it is on Android, but it's not on PC, and it's mainly on most people's iPads and stuff. Okay, here we go. At 7:07 a.m. on Monday, Pacific time, Mars comes direct. Now, what's the most interesting to me is this Venus is going to square Pluto, and that's happening this weekend too, and this is where more about divine timing and trust is going to be. So I'm going to just show you guys, and I'm going to be real as hell about this because I can't be any more real. Oh, come on. The tab is about to die. It is getting hot. I'm pushing it too hard. Okay, so look at Venus in Libra. Oh, that color is not strong enough. There we go. So Venus in Libra, okay, 19. at the same exact time that Mars has moved forward. See how Mars now is black, right? So that means it's moving forward. Okay? 2 years, thank God, Mars is moving forward. The men have risen again. The troops have risen again. And it feels like you can charge the castle again. Yay! And you probably don't need that Viagra anymore. Some of you might need Cialis, but that's another story. So, Pluto, 19 degrees. The exact day that Venus is squaring Pluto. This puts the question, now that you are on your long-term goals and your ambitions, and the universe has brought all this magic throughout the weekend and into this week, and especially over the last 8 weeks, okay? You have to make a decision about who in your life is good for you and not fall into traps of relationships that you know aren't going to go in the same direction that you're going. Like Venus square Pluto is like being real about how you really feel emotionally, how you really feel deep down, what your true feelings are. And these things all need to be brought up to the surface. So it's like knowing, yes, I want to do this with you. Because Venus square Pluto can also be like really intense, like, fuck yeah, we're doing this. Like, you know, it's like, you know, it's kind of like one night stand energy. Like, oh yeah, right? Like, but Venus square Pluto at the same time is like, am I trying to connect to an energy that's not going to bring back the same energy back? Because Venus in Libra is about balance. Is the equal playing field on the same energy? And especially with Pluto and Capricorn, it's like, are we going in the same direction? Do we have the same idea of where we're going? If the directions are not the same, the people are just not going to work, because this is Mars direct. This is after this magical Grand Trine Kite full moon. And with the moon, which will be exactly, and I got to show you this all, I'm not making this up. Look at the moon will exactly be conjuncting Neptune the exact second that Mars comes direct. Do not this weekend fall into any traps with relationships and situations and people that you do not want to go on that journey with when you know it's not equal. This is never going to come back again in our lives. I've done the astrology. You will never see in your life again a Mars direct in its exalted, it's one of its happiest signs, move forward during the time of a full moon kite with Uranus in an earth sign, in Taurus especially, with Saturn in its home sign especially, it's dignified there, and with the sun in Virgo to make this magical full moon and all these amazing things happen. And what's the problem with Pisces? It's either aware or not aware. It's delusional or completely spiritually knowing intuitively. Don't fall into bullshit shit because you're emotionally obsessed with something that isn't equal. And Venus is more than relationships. It's our desires, it's our food, it's our things that we want. There's something in our life that, yeah, it would be cool to have that. Maybe it'd be cool to have this partner, or maybe this is a very toxic partner situation, or maybe this looks like an interesting situation with this person, but you know we're not on the same team. We're not going to go in the same direction. You know? It'd be kind of like, you know, I mean, here I'm doing the Leo King and I do Future Life, but we're launching High Vibe, this awesome network with my co-founder, with Abby, and it's like, it'd be like bringing in like a bunch of porn stars to show how they can suck dick better onto a High Vibe show. Like, I don't, even though it would, I'll be honest, my Scorpio and me would be like, that'd be a pretty fucking cool show. Like, I would really, like, enjoy it. But, like, I don't know if, like, sending the... And maybe one day the world's ready for that kind of an open discussion on a high vibrating level. But, like, right now, no. Especially when it's all about bringing, like, ascension to the world and bringing positivity and bringing this really awesome energy out there. Like, yeah, sucking dick's a great thing, I'm sure. But, like... At the end of the day, it would be like, what is on the same path? They're not the same. Like, I really shouldn't have to go any more deeper into that to describe why they're not the same, but that's what I'm talking about. Like, do you have a desire or an obsession or something that you cannot let go of, an emotional attachment in something that you desire, a relationship or a situation that you keep trying to make want to happen, but you know it's not on the same path, it's not in the right direction, it's not about to take off on this magical wonderland? Or are you just going to completely just continue to try and push yourself and head on the wrong freeway to the wrong destined path and where there's no gas station? And run out of gas and then kind of say bye. It's the best way to describe this week. I'm wishing you all my best. Don't forget to get Rising Through the Darkness. It's available now at inclusiveastrology.com. My 5-hour video covering 5 years and the craziness of rising through this fucking darkness and how to rise through it. Because I'm sure you've already felt how it feels like you are rising through some darkness in your life. And that's the whole awesome part though too, right? So don't miss that. I will be doing a September webinar. I don't know the date yet, so check in with me on my Facebook or my Instagram or all that stuff. And we will be launching High Vibe, so check it out, highvibe.tv. Awesome new network. And if you want to watch my daily horoscope videos, those are at futurelife.tv. Thanks so much for all your support. I truly mean it. Everybody on YouTube and Facebook and everywhere, and everybody that's been sharing these videos and getting all these views and all these comments, I truly appreciate it. It means the world to me. Thank you for sharing the message. And please share it to everybody that you know so you can help them understand and so you don't have to deal with some crazy psychotic person that's being a dickhead in your life because they just don't understand divine timing and they're fucking lost. And share this video so you can help them. Thanks so much, and we'll see you on the next Deep Astrology.